Hey everyone, if you've been hearing rumors about $2,000 checks coming from tariff revenue, I need you to stop what you're doing and pay attention. Early morning, November 24th at 4:38 a.m., President Trump doubled down on this proposal, and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick just went on record saying these checks are coming. But there's a lot of confusion about who qualifies, when this might happen, and whether Congress will even approve it. I'm Tony from Retirees Benefits, and I spent hours reading through the policy statements, the economic analysis, and the political debate, so you don't have to. I watched the full interview footage. I read Trump's statement word for word. I dug into what Republicans and Democrats are saying. And let me tell you, this is bigger and more complicated than the headlines suggest. Before we dive in, I want to quickly share something personal. Last month, I was talking to a single mom named Jessica, who told me her grocery bill has gone up almost $200 a month compared to last year. She's working full-time, doing everything right, and still barely making it. That's exactly why I started this channel, because when big policy changes happen in Washington, the people who need information the most are often the last ones to get it in a way they can actually understand and use. So today, we're breaking down everything you need to know about these $2,000 tariff checks, what Trump actually said, what the Commerce Secretary confirmed, who would qualify, the political fight happening right now, and most importantly, what you can do today to prepare. But first, let me tell you about something that's already helping families right now. So here's what happened. At 4:38 a.m. on November 24, 2025, President Trump posted a lengthy statement about tariffs. Let me read you the key part. Despite the massive amounts of money that are being made by the United States of America, hundreds of billions of dollars as a direct result of tariffs being charged on other countries, the full benefit of the tariffs have not yet been calculated. The amounts payable to the USA will skyrocket over and above the already historic levels of dollars received. These payments will be record-setting and put our nation on a new and unprecedented course. Then, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick went on Fox Business and said this: "One of the ways to prove to the American people how great tariffs are is to have them share in a part of 1 year's income from these tariffs. And that's $2,000 a head for people who need the money. The president's got that on his desk, and his legislative team will figure out the best way to do it." That is coming next year from the president, so this isn't just talk anymore. Trump has reportedly estimated that Americans could see these payments in mid-2026. The administration is calling them tariff dividend checks. Basically, they're saying the tariffs are bringing in so much money that they want to share it directly with working Americans. Let's talk about the actual money we're talking about here, because this is important. According to Treasury Department reports, tariff revenue has climbed sharply since Trump's Liberation Day tariffs went into effect in April. In May, they collected $23.9 billion. By June, it was $28 billion. By July, $29 billion. Total tariff revenue for fiscal year 2025 reached $215.2 billion. Compare that to December 2024 under Biden, around $8 billion. By September 2025 under Trump, $31 billion. For fiscal year 2026, which started October 1st, they've already collected about $40 billion, so the money is coming in. The question is there enough to actually send out $2,000 checks to millions of Americans? Here's where it gets tricky. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, a nonpartisan group that studies fiscal issues, says these payments would cost roughly $600 billion per round. If they send these checks out annually for the next decade, we're looking at $6 trillion added to the deficit. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said they would limit payments to people making below a certain income threshold. Trump has said the checks would go to individuals of moderate income. Based on previous stimulus checks, that probably means individuals making under $75,000 and couples making under $150,000. So let's talk about who would actually get these checks if this happens. Based on what we know so far, this would likely include working moms and dads struggling with rising costs even with full-time jobs, veterans asterisk on fixed incomes who haven't seen meaningful increases, disabled Americans receiving SSI, or SSDI. Seniors on Social Security watching inflation eat away their purchasing power. Low to moderate income workers making under the income threshold. Unemployed individuals trying to get back on their feet. Commerce Secretary Lutnick specifically said, for people who need the money, so this wouldn't be universal. It would be targeted to working class and low-income Americans. If you're that single mom working 2 jobs and still barely making rent, you'd likely qualify. If you're a grandparent raising grandkids on a fixed income, you'd likely qualify. If you're a veteran with service-connected disabilities struggling with medical costs, you'd likely qualify. But here's the reality check we need to have. Here's another complication. The Supreme Court is currently deciding whether Trump even had the authority to impose these tariffs in the first place. Trump used the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to levy these tariffs. But constitutionally, Congress is the branch with oversight of taxation and spending, not the president. So there's a legal question about whether this was even allowed. Commerce Secretary Lutnick says he's confident. We are going to win the case. It's pretty clear. He attended the oral arguments and believes the Supreme Court will side with the administration. But just in case, Bloomberg is reporting that the White House is quietly preparing backup plans. The Commerce Department and the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative have considered alternative legal routes using Section 232, Section 301, and Section 338 of U.S. trade law, different provisions that allow tariffs for national security or to counter unfair trade practices. It's not clear when the Supreme Court will rule, but that decision could be the determining factor in whether any of this happens. I know some of you are thinking, if they send out $2,000 checks to millions of people, won't that just make inflation worse? U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer addressed this on Fox and Friends Weekend. He said, "This is not some kind of ongoing new welfare program or something that would exasperate inflation. While I expect American families to welcome the checks, I don't see the payments as changing the nation's overall macroeconomic picture. The argument is that it's a one-time payment funded by revenue that's already been collected, not new money being printed." Whether economists agree with that assessment is another question. Okay, I know this has been a lot of political back and forth and uncertainty. Let me share some genuinely positive things. First, the fact that this conversation is happening at the highest levels, with the President, Commerce Secretary, and members of Congress from both parties discussing direct payments to working Americans, that's significant. It shows there's real acknowledgement that people are struggling. Second, Trump has been taking some steps to address immediate cost of living concerns. He recently expanded tariff breaks on Brazilian goods and signed orders reducing tariffs on everyday items like beef, tomatoes, coffee, and bananas. These moves came after electoral wins for Democrats in key states where candidates stressed affordability concerns, so there's pressure on the administration to show they're helping with prices. Third, the White House created a website that allows consumers to purchase prescription drugs directly rather than going through insurance starting January 26th. That's something that could help people right away. Fourth, if these $2,000 checks do come through, whether in mid-2026 as Trump estimated or later, that could be genuinely life-changing for millions of families. That's caught-up rent, that's car repairs, that's a financial cushion for emergencies. So here's my advice for what you should be doing today while this plays out. Step 1. Don't make financial decisions based on money that's not in your hand yet. I know it's tempting to think, I'll catch up on bills when that check comes. But we don't have a guaranteed timeline, or even a guarantee it will happen. Step 2. Make sure your information is up to date with the IRS. When stimulus checks went out during the pandemic, the biggest delays happened because people had moved, changed bank accounts, or hadn't filed recent tax returns. File your taxes even if you don't owe anything. Update your address. Make sure the government can find you if these checks do go out. Step 3. Apply for assistance programs now. Don't wait. Even if you've been denied before, eligibility rules change and new programs become available. I'm talking about SNAP benefits, food stamps with expanded eligibility in many states, LIHEAP for help with heating and cooling bills, Medicaid in states that have expanded it, WIC for mothers and children, rental assistance through HUD and local housing authorities, earned income tax credit that you can claim on your taxes. I've got detailed videos on this channel walking through exactly how to apply for each of these. Check the description for those links. Step 4. Stay informed. Subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell, because when there's an official announcement, when we know for certain whether Congress approved this, what the income limits are, when payments would go out, I will break it down for you immediately. Look, I want to talk to you real quick about what's really happening here. What we're seeing is a fundamental debate about who our economy should work for. Should trade revenue benefit corporations and sit in government accounts, or should it go directly to working families who are struggling? Trade Representative Greer said something interesting. The president wants the American people to understand how great tariffs are for them. This is about trying to prove that tariff policy isn't just abstract economics. It's supposed to have real benefits for everyday people. Whether you support tariffs or oppose them, whether you think Trump's approach is brilliant or misguided, your voice matters in this conversation. Contact your representatives. Tell them what you need. Tell them what $2,000 would mean for your family. Tell them about your grocery bill, your rent, your medical costs. They work for you. And right now, there's a real debate happening about whether this money goes to debt reduction or to families who need it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you think these checks should go out, type yes. If you think the money should go to debt reduction, type NO. I genuinely want to know where you stand on this. I know this is a lot of information, and I know the uncertainty is frustrating. You want to know, is this real? Will I actually get $2,000? When? Here's what I can tell you for certain. Trump has doubled down. His Commerce Secretary has publicly committed to making this happen. The money from tariffs is coming in, but there are significant political and legal obstacles that need to be resolved first. This could happen in mid-2026, as Trump estimated. It could happen later. It could require congressional approval. It could be done through executive action. The Supreme Court ruling will be a major factor. There are a lot of moving pieces. But what I want you to remember is this. Whether or not these specific checks come through, you're not powerless. There are resources available to you right now. There are programs you can access today that will put money in your pocket and food on your table. Don't wait for maybe money. Take action on the help that's available right now. If this video helped you understand what's really going on with these tariff checks, please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps me reach more people who need this information. Check out my other videos on programs you can access right now. I'll link to those in the description. And remember, I'm reading these reports and watching these interviews so you don't have to. You've got enough on your plate. Stay informed, stay proactive, and take care of yourself. I'll keep you updated as this develops. I'll catch you in the next one. God bless.